Hey there, it's me, Tia Torres, with another Tia Talk podcast episode. So today I wanted to talk about a particular phrase that has very much been attached to me throughout the years, mainly because of having a TV show that talks about this particular topic, and that is giving chances, second chances. I know we talk a lot about on the show, uh, with my work with those coming out of prison and also dogs, particularly pit bulls. And I've noticed a pattern, when let's say I have an employee that keeps messing up and I've given them a million chances and I go to fire them and then they try to guilt me. You believe in second chances, Tia. I can't believe you're firing me. And I'm like, stop hanging that over my head. Okay. I'm not the queen of second chances. That being said, I actually proposed the question to some inmates I was working with at a prison here in Louisiana. And my question to them was this, because they did have some dogs in their dog program that, I didn't know the dogs very well, but I didn't get the warm and fuzzy feeling from them. Let's put it that way. And I get it. They're in a shelter environment. So I understand. Much like an inmate when they're in a prison. So I said to them, what is your opinion on a particular dog that has bitten people multiple times, just keeps biting and keeps biting? They've tried everything. Let's say the owner has gone to training, did all the right things. The dog has never been abused, came from a great home. It just continues to bite, and the bites are severe. And this is the scenario I gave them. I said, do you think that dog deserves more chances? Like, is it ever going to be rehabilitated? So basically, do you think every single dog is rehabilitatable? And all but one said yes. Only one kind of went, but the rest said yes. I said, really? All right. Let me turn this into more of a human analogy. Do you think every human inmate in this prison is rehabilitatable? And they said yes. And I said, wait, really? And I said, what about like Charlie Manson? Or better yet, Jeffrey Dahmer? It has been said and documented through many, many documentaries that Jeffrey Dahmer came from a normal family, a loving home, from loving parents, and grew up just, in a great household, in a great neighborhood. He was doing creepy things from childhood. And of course it got worse, and we know how that ended up. So I asked him, you don't think that dogs or people can just be born like wired wrong? And I said, because in my opinion, humans are supposedly the smartest animal on the planet. We can speak their language. We can communicate with each other. They can tell us when things bother them. If we cannot rehabilitate every single human, then what makes us think we can rehabilitate every single dog? Because we don't know what's going on in a dog's mind. We have to guess. And I said, so I don't know that I would agree with that, because again, serial killers, and I'm speaking of serial killers in particular, or maybe this is a whole nother topic and it's going to get dark here in a minute, but I don't mean dark outside. I mean a dark topic. But in prison, of course, you have many people who have killed, but there's different degrees of killing, different reasons, different situations. So I'm talking about the super demented, like, yuck, killing, okay? So one of the inmates said to me, yeah, I'll give you an example. I said, okay. He said, this one dude I know, he was in here for like multiple rapes. And I said, well, hold on a second. I said, let me stop you there. It is a psychological fact. Like every psychologist and will tell you that violent sex crimes are not rehabilitatable. That's the way they think. For example, like a child molester. That is their preference. Like you can't change that. It's no different. And this is the way it was explained to me. It's no different in like me as a straight female. I am attracted to men. Or if I was gay, I would be attracted to other women. It is our preference. So you can't undo that. I mean, maybe someday I might change it on my own, but you can't force it. So a child molester or somebody who enjoys controlling and raping women, this is what they want to do. This is wired. This is the way they're wired. So this was the way it was explained to me. And I've gone down this rabbit hole many times throughout the years. So I then told this to this one particular inmate. And he said, well, this dude I know was in for multiple rapes. He ended up finally getting paroled. He said he never committed another crime again. So he goes, so I think he was rehabilitated. And I'm like, yeah, well, I would have to know more to his situation as far as like where he lives. What does he do now? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he lives on an island of men. I don't know. I said, but I'm not saying that he's ever going to repeat history. But my point more is, would you trust him enough to be rehabilitated to have him work at a women's shelter, at a women's homeless shelter? There you go. Would you trust him? And he was like, well, I would. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was a man thing for him to say that. I don't know. I would not. And this kind of led back into the dogs again. If a dog has bitten several people, serious bites, can we ever trust that dog in a home? So, interesting correlation as far as rehabilitation and giving all these extra chances. Because in the back of my mind, I would always wonder, when is the other shoe going to drop? So it is a slippery slope, and I don't know that I have an answer. I know that when we're dealing with dogs that have may have bitten somebody, etc., we look at the circumstances, of course. We look at the severity, of the injuries. I think what makes the dog situation maybe different than a human situation is that dogs do not have malice in their heart. They don't seek revenge. They don't necessarily enjoy inflicting pain. Although I think my dog Lucky did. I think he did enjoy biting people. Where humans, they do. They get some power kick off of it. Some self-gratification. But it was just an interesting topic in discussing, does everybody deserve that second chance? And my answer would have to be no. What about you guys? What do you think?